Good morning. Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? I hope you're doing better than me. Thank God it's Friday. So, as you well know, I tend to finish these shows one day. I then take myself away and prepare the following day's show. I did that yesterday. Came in this morning, and for some reason, my computer mouse wasn't working. Restarted the machine, mouse started working, and pretty much everything that I had prepared for today, gone. Gone. Most of my script now, thankfully, the morning monologue I'd actually written elsewhere, so I've still got that, but everything else gone. So you know how I always look like I'm winging it. Well, today I really am absolutely 100% winging it. If I stumble over my words even more than usual, you'll know why. I've got absolutely nothing. No, no script, no pointers. Buttons are all over the shop. It's a whole thing. Good morning to Digger David Hearn over on Instagram. Good morning to Boss Sticks over there. Good morning to Edmundo Ross. Okay, who do we have here? I know Gary Muirhead was here before the show even started. Good morning, guys, and happy Friday. Well, it's Friday. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a happy one. It's quite stressful, actually. There's Dan Cullen as well. Mark Whiting is in the house. Ken Hatcher. Ken Hatcher seems to have the weather that we were expecting. We were told to expect torrential downpours and high winds and everything. We got nothing. Dan saying, fine day, bit damp. Yeah, that's all it is, just a bit damp. Looks like you're going to have to wing it. Well, will you be able to? I mean, today could be a test case. If I wing it with no script whatsoever, do I need to bother writing a script in the future? You be the judge. As the saying goes, well, there it was gone. Yeah, there it was gone. Particularly annoying. And listen, my Mac is almost entirely reliable. But it came in this morning, and the mouse. Well, I mean, the mouse was moving, but the cursor on the screen wasn't moving. So I switched it off, switched it back on again. It's the battery mouse. There you go. That didn't budge it. So in the end, I thought, well, I would just restart the machine, press the save button. But obviously, because it was the mouse wasn't working, it chose not to do that. But there's an autosave function on this. If I tell you when the autosave function kicked in, it's brought me back. I'm looking at a script now from last Friday. Yeah. So none of it makes any sense. None of it makes any sense at all. Doesn't time with today at all. Not a problem for a man who loves to talk. Just like normal, we'll start with a topic and see what rabbit hole it takes us. Yeah, I think the rabbit hole will be beckoning today. Really. Ken Hatcher says, "Wait, the rain is on its way." There is, as you well know, apart from going over to Kentucky a couple of weeks ago, I haven't really travelled too much. We're trying to really concentrate on this show. I'm travelling next week. I'm travelling up to Birmingham, not once, but twice. Unfortunately, they're not back to back, so I'm going to have to go, come back, go, and come back. It is what it is. I'm due to go on Wednesday. When are we due to get the snow? Next week? Wednesday. So that will be fun. Jim Turner says, morning peeps, wetter than an otter's pocket this morning. We've got a bit of drizzle here. Gary saying, snow in Inverness. There's always snow in Inverness, isn't there? Isn't that in the Arctic Circle, pretty much? It's heavy here now, lashing down. Well, I'm glad I am where I am. I don't know about that. It rained last night plenty. I must have stepped through it. It looks like my computer has slept through it as well. Anyway, without further ado, I can remember this bit. Without further ado, let me roll the intro and get this show on the road. It is a Friday. Let me just check. It is it should be on my screen, but it's not. It is Friday, the 14th of November. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. You know, there's a walrus in there. There's a Lord High Chancellor of Life. It's not here. I'm screwed. But in today's show, we're visiting Kobelco Europe's new home. Volvo's new generation ADTs are going to work. Cold recycling of roads in Bavaria. Love Bavaria. And remote control goes underground. Plus, in my morning monologue today, we're looking for waste in all the wrong places. Yes, it is European Waste Reduction Week. Did you know that? Wouldn't blame you if you didn't, but apparently it is. And that's what we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to take my usual light-hearted look at that situation. So yes, all of that to come. Well, let's have a look what we got in the chat. The forecasters always cover their asses by prediction of what's coming. Most time it never does. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Michael Fish. Yeah, Michael Fish, but famously, there will be no hurricane. And I woke up about 8 hours later, and the south of England was flat. Do you remember that? Was that 86? 86. I mean, in truth, I slept through the entire storm, but yes, it was. The whole thing was level. Gary says, I remember today's show was Kobelco, new home, Volvo's ADTs goes to work. Thank you. He read that on LinkedIn. I probably should have done that. I didn't think of that. I'm looking at it over on YouTube. And then while I'm looking at it on YouTube, it's trying to play me on YouTube. It's a whole thing. They have to cover themselves in case it does happen. No one can claim. Well, we'll be talking a bit about that in the morning monologue today as well. I've been out on the ground all morning and I'm drenched now in the cab, heated seat on and heater on full. It's hard to get dry, isn't it? I mean, I don't know this from working on site because I very rarely do it, but I know those days where I've been fishing. And the one that always gets you in the sunshine, you know, sun's beaming down, and I can sit there quite happily fishing. I have no tangles. I don't get the line trapped up a tree. There's nothing around me that needs attending to. I'm just sat on my seat watching the world go by. It starts to rain, and all of a sudden you have to reorganize everything. You know you're hooked into a tree, so you have to get out and get soaked for that. The fish that you've caught gets caught around some weeds, so you have to go and wade in and get that out, and you get wet, and then you sit there and you sit there and you sit there and you sit. To begin with, you think, "Oh, I'll dry out," and after about an hour, it's like, "I just really want to go home right now." Maybe it's just me. I'm in the cab sitting back. Well, put your feet up, Dan. Well, no, don't do that because people will be able to see you doing that. We're not going to do any news today because I've lost it. I have no idea where it is. So instead, we're going to crack straight on with the action. We'll be back with some. We're paying a visit to the new Komatsu facility here in Europe after this. Yeah, computer's still playing silly buggers. I thought for one moment I'd actually found my script. I hadn't. Anyway, yes, it is time for Kobelco. They've got a new facility here in Europe, and it looks like this.
Hi everyone, my name is Makoto. Welcome to Kobelco's new European headquarters. Here, daily collaboration between team members fuels innovation. With our new warehouse management system, including cutting-edge automatic sorting system, we ensure spare parts are delivered efficiently as quickly as possible. The Tech Center is another way we support our dealers and customers. First, with technical and sales trainings, but also this is where we do European-specific customization projects. We also have a showroom where we can host our customers directly to showcase our new machines. Our facility is designed to encourage connection and collaboration at every level. At the heart of our space is a testing ground surrounded by the office, warehouse, and tech center. This design layout ensures that everyone, whether our employee or visiting customer, can see the machines in action. It encourages team spirit, product and brand engagement, and a strong sense of shared purpose. Kobelco reaffirms its commitment to Europe. By investing further in Europe, we are strengthening our brand presence and its customer engagement, and building a sustainable future together.
I have to say, that looks fantastic. The demonstration area in the middle of the factory. I'm really impressed with that. Gary says his English is fantastic, very clear indeed. You imagine going, Gary, with your accent or my accent, imagine going to Korea and trying to replicate that. Not a hope in hell. Gary also says, we had an old Irish foreman who had us in the cabin because of the rain. He asked, is it still raining? One of the young guys said, yes, I can see it in the puddle. He said, well, you don't work in a puddle. I bet you bloody do. I bet there's a lot of people working in puddles today. Yes, there we are. Yes, he speaks better English than I do. Jim, listen, you do throw in some phrases that I've literally never heard in all my life. But yeah, your English is pretty clear. I understand most of what you say. I guess the rest, but it is. What are we doing? Oh, no, I know exactly what we're doing. That's a lie. I have no idea what we're doing, but I can see on my screen we're going to look at Volvo ADTs in just a moment.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
Gary says this. I can understand him better than some of these Highlanders up here. I mean, this has never occurred to me. Because well, anything outside of basically the M25 sounds foreign to me anyway. And I realise this is both naive and potentially racist, but I've always seen the Scottish accent as Scottish. You can tell the difference between Glaswegian and Highlands. Aberdeen? Is there a particular accent for Inverness? Never occurred to me. It's literally just occurring to me as we speak. Which is the most Scottish? We'll come back to that. Anyway, we're talking ADTs with the masters of the ADTs. Let's fold that. Go back to fantastic trucks, by the way. Listen, if I were in the market for an ADT, I'd be looking at Volvo first and foremost. Go back to Gary says you should hear them up in the Shetlands and the Orkneys. Wow, a different language altogether. I'm sure it is. It's just never ever occurred to me. I need to get it out more. Jim Turner says, wish me luck. When my YouTube subscribers hit 500, I'm going to put something on with me speaking. Not sure they'll all understand what I'm saying. I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. I really don't. One of the guys that I really enjoy watching, anybody else come across Garen Noon? Very, very Irish. And he always finishes his videos with, follow me, I'm delicious. But very, very heavy Irish accent. But as funny as hell. Very, very engaging. Apparently very popular in America as well. Jim, I don't think you'll have any issues whatsoever. Now, I have lost all my news. I really have. But I do need to show you this because this just goes to show the state of my industry as much as the state of yours. This is from Construction Inquirer this morning. Subcontractors and suppliers are being pestered by media companies posing as main contractors in a bid to sell them ineffective advertising space. The Inquirer has been contacted by fed-up specialists who are being swamped with emails and phone calls from persistent publishers. The ruse is for small media companies to promise main contractors and clients a site feature in their publications and websites in return for access to a project supplier list. Salespeople then swoop on the list and pressure supply chain firms to take out paid adverts by inferring that the feature is endorsed by the main contractor. Been going on for years. It's about time somebody did clamp down on that. There was another bit there. Where is it? These people are just leeches. You're right, they are. The magazines hardly print any copies and the websites have no real audience. So just to be clear on that, that's one of the ways you A, make money, and B, cut your costs in the publishing game these days. You claim to send out 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 magazines. In actual fact, all you print is enough just to get by. You print enough to prove to your advertisers that you have actually produced the magazine, but that's all you do. Nobody reads it because nobody gets to see it. That is the latest ruse. So if any of you do get a phone call, we're doing a feature on Balfour Beatty, and they've told us that you should be contributing an advert because you're big friends with Balfour Beatty. Tell them to piss off because 'tis a ruse, people. 'Tis a ruse. Yes, you never beat the Irish. No, you don't. And why would you want to? This thing on saying on the BBC was interesting. I saw something go across my screen last night that I was knee deep in AI yesterday. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm safe for a bit as I'm only on 435, but averaging more than one subscriber a day might end up as a Christmas message to the world. Ah, yes. We used to have the Queen's speech. I guess now we have the King's speech. Maybe we could have the Jim speech. I'd actually tune into that over Charlie Boy doing his thing. Old sausage fingers. I'm not particularly interested in what he's got to say, but Jim, if you do a Christmas message, please let me know. I'd be interested to do that. Wonder if I should do one myself. Who would watch on Christmas Day? You'd be astounded. I don't look at the stats on Christmas Day ever, but if 2 or 3 days later, when I'm sat here bored and I look at the stats for Demolition News and the Breakfast Show and everything else, people tuned in on Christmas Day. How bad is your Christmas going when you're watching this twat? Unbelievable. We're going to be back with a bit of cold road recycling, in fact, all the way down in Bavaria, one of my favourite parts of the world. Back after.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
Yeah, we're off to Bavaria right now, where the Black Forest is. The Black Forest for real, and the Gatto, which borrows its name. We're going in the company of the fine folks at Wirtgen.
There is a backlog of road rehabilitation in Germany, especially on country and district roads. Zeitspeier Straßenbau is rehabilitating a municipal connecting road here in Markt Indersdorf. The cracks have penetrated so deeply into the substructure that applying a new asphalt surface layer would no longer be effective. We are realizing the project using the cold recycling process. Preliminary investigations indicate that there is insufficient recyclable material available, at least a 50mm to 80mm asphalt surface layer on a 300mm base layer on clay E subgrade. We have also topped up the roadway here with milled material from another section of this construction site, so that we will ultimately achieve greater durability and a higher load-bearing capacity for this road. The additional material is pre-profiled with a John Deere motor grader. The structure to be recycled then measures 150mm, at least 50mm existing asphalt surface layer plus 100mm pre-profiled and compacted milled material. We have a Wirtgen recycling train consisting entirely of Wirtgen Group machines. A Streumaster binding agent spreader first applies the required amount of cement onto the prepared surface. 2 Wirtgen cold milling machines in tandem pre-mill to a total width of 2.6 meters. They place the material in the recycling path of the W240 CRI, which picks it up, all in one step, into the 150mm deep milling and mixing process. The addition of water and bitumen is carried out precisely via microprocessor-controlled injection systems. The high performance of the Wirtgen cold recycler and its effective milling and mixing rotor ensure that the different materials are processed into a homogeneous mixture, which is directly transferred via the discharge conveyor into the hopper of the following Fergala Super 2100-5i paver. The cold recycling train operates with an advance rate of 4 meters per minute, achieving a performance of 360 tons per hour. The main advantage is that it is way faster than having to transport everything first off and then back on to site again. We have all the material we need already here on site. We recycle everything here, thereby creating a new improved base layer and providing the road with a greater durability than it ever had before. A new base layer is produced and installed directly in situ from existing material. The high-performance screed on the Fergala paver lays the mixture evenly in the correct position and optimally pre-compacted over the full width of the road. 14-ton HAM tandem rollers handle the compaction to a layer thickness of 160 millimeters. Perfect, as confirmed by the construction accompanying measurements. The surface is subsequently sealed with a diluted bitumen emulsion applied by a spraying truck. A HAM pneumatic tire roller performs the final compaction. This means that the base layer can be driven on after a short curing time and opened for traffic until the surface layer is installed, which benefits the local residents. Following the creation of the recycling base layer, we now add another 4-centimeter asphalt layer on top, and the road will be already finished. There are a lot of roads in our region that are ideally suited for cold recycling. If we had to rebuild everything here, there would be a complete closure for 6 to 8 weeks. With this construction project, we are reducing the number of truckloads on the road, eliminating transportation and saving resources. Significantly shorter construction times, here in just 3 days, ensuring optimal use of the available resources. Everything from a single source, thanks to Wirtgen's cold recycling technology.
There are some clever buggers out there, aren't there? Really are. Why don't we do that in the UK? Don't even get me started. There's so many things that the UK could and should do, but we don't do any of them. Andy Thornton says, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday. Yes, welcome to Friday indeed. Thanks for joining us, Andy. Ken Hatcher, that's a good idea. Like that. Dan Cullen enjoying that as well. And Gary, yes, I do kind of remember that. Ken or Dan wanted me to do a Christmas show. I mean, I could. I won't be here. I'm actually the first time in 30 plus years. I won't be at home for Christmas. We're actually going to my daughter's for Christmas. But what I could do is pre-record something to play on Christmas Day. I just don't want to encourage you away from your families and stuff. That'd be great. Well, yeah, would it? Would it? I don't know. Maybe I'll do a greatest hits or something. I'll tell you something else I'm working on at the moment is a colouring book, a plant-based colouring book for kids. Yeah, it's going on in the background. It'll be ready before Christmas. So yes, all of that to come. All of that to come. You can tell I'm just treading water here. Yeah, we've got our young lady, and then we're going underground. Let's get her out of the way first.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays, everyone.
See, here's the thing. I'm going to do this first. Ken Hatcher says, I'd like a colouring book. So would I. Okay, so this takes me back. When I was, I don't know how old I would have been. Doesn't matter. But when me and my other half were saving to buy a house, I was probably 20. She would have been about 17 or thereabouts. We started to save for a house. And both of us had been, big drinkers, big partiers, big restaurant goers and all of that. And we decided, no, for the next, we said 4 months, but we actually ended up doing 6 months. We'll basically stay indoors. We won't do anything that costs money. And she went out and bought this huge poster, like a medieval scene with knights and fair maidens and all that sort of stuff, and a big pack of felt tip pens. And we basically sat there and coloured it. Cup of tea, music on in the background, and we sat there and coloured this thing. Do you know what? I'd quite happily sit down and do a bit more of that. I thoroughly enjoyed that. When you say plant-based colouring book, do you mean it's made of hemp? No. In actual fact, what I'm planning to do with it, and I've already started work on it. It's taking a little while, but my plan basically with it is to produce it as a downloadable PDF. So you can download it, print it off, hand it to your kids, or hand it to Ken, or hand it to me. Break out the crayons or the felt tip pens, and have at it. The other thing, well, there's several things that I quite liked about it was if you buy a colouring book, once you've coloured it in, it's done. You basically throw it away. You also have the whole book. If you want this book, it's only going to be about 20 pictures or thereabouts. But if you just want, let's say, the cat dump truck, there's a cat dump truck in it. If you want just the cat dump truck, you could download that single page, just colour that in, throw the rest away, or don't even download it. There's no waste. If, however, you've done your cat dump truck and you think, didn't do that as well as I'd like, I can print it again. You can print it again. Won't cost you a dime. How good is that? How good is that? So yes, not quite plant-based, but plant-based, if you see what I mean. Final film of the day. We're going underground. Automine. Yeah. If you can make remote control work below ground, should you not be able to make it work above ground? You be the judge.
For over a decade, the Automine product family has offered advanced and reliable automation solutions for underground loaders and trucks, all built on the robust Automine platform. Automine Teleremote for underground loaders is the entry-level remote operation solution in the industry-leading Automine offering. Designed for quick setup, Teleremote is particularly suitable for constantly changing mining environments. Further benefits include reduced equipment damage, improved safety, ease of use, and extra productive hours due to remote operation over blast clearance and shift changing times. The solution can be upgraded to higher levels of Automine packages for even higher performance. Automine Teleremote includes several smart features that make remote loader operation effortless. With assisted teleremote tramming, The system scans its environment and automatically steers the loader without predefined paths. When needed, the operator gives direction hints to the loader by nudging the joystick. Predictive wall avoidance reduces equipment damage and strain on the operator. The operator simply controls the maximum speed of the loader. Once the loader arrives at the loading or dumping point, the operator takes full teleoperation command of the bucket movements. AutoMine Teleremote is integrated into the machine design for full monitoring and control functionality of the loader. As with the complete AutoMine offering, the solution is designed to improve safety by keeping people separated from the loader's work area and the operator away from hazards. Enter the productivity-increasing world of automation with AutoMine Teleremote. Remote, yet at your fingertips. Smart, yet simple.
Yeah, going back very quickly to the colouring book, Jim rightly says, suppose all colouring paper books are plant waste. They are. That was the other thing that occurred to me. I know when we did the poster many moons ago, about 1,000 years ago, the paper was really nice quality. Kids' colouring books aren't. You ever notice that? You colour in, particularly with a felt tip or something like that, and the colour bleeds. I don't suppose young kids are particularly bothered about that, but if you are, a bit longer in the tooth, then maybe you want something a bit better quality. So print it on better quality paper that really takes ink. Maybe that's a good idea. I don't know. We'll see once we get it out there. Mick Norton's just arrived as well. Morning, Mick. And if the operator is going to remotely work, why the load up? Why put in a small dark grey room to operate? It's a good point. It is a good point. Yeah, you would think they could have all mod cons, wouldn't you? Coffee machine to one side, nicely lit, bit of music playing in the background. Yeah, it looked a bit like a cupboard under the stairs, didn't it? You're quite right. Anyway, people, now this is where I do have to fudge. That pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. What is it I say round about now? I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before I leap gazelle-like over into my morning monologue. I do remember. If you can't stick around for that, please stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Hope to see you again very soon. Monday, I'm here. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday next week. No show Wednesday, no show on Friday. So keep that in mind. I will be back immediately after this with my morning monologue. This week, apparently, is European Week for Waste Reduction. Cue the usual fanfare about recycling, reusing, reducing embodied carbon, and saving the planet one crushed lump of concrete at a time. You can almost hear the circular economy crowd revving up for another round of LinkedIn posts as we speak. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for reducing waste. I'd love to see more steel reused, more materials diverted from landfill, and more intelligent thought given to what happens once the demolition dust has settled. But let's be honest, when most of us in demolition or construction hear the words waste, we don't picture a skip full of reusable rubble. We picture the other kind of waste, the kind you can't put into a recycling bin, the kind that's quietly bleeding this industry dry. Let's start with time, because if there's one thing this industry knows how to waste, it's that. We've somehow become an industry where every minor task requires a meeting, then a follow-up meeting, then a debriefing, then an email summarizing the debriefing. Somewhere along the line, we've convinced ourselves that sitting in a room talking about work is work. It isn't. I've been in meetings that could have been dealt with in a 30-second phone call. I've been in progress reviews where the only progress was how fast the biscuits disappeared. And the bigger the contractor, the worse it seems to get. Some of them have turned project management into performance art, layers upon layers of planners, coordinators, and managers, all managing each other. Yet somehow the guy on the machine still doesn't know if he started tomorrow or next week. Meanwhile, sites sit quiet because a decision that should have taken 10 minutes is stuck in a 4-week approval loop. But it's fine because everyone's calendar's full and full calendars look productive, right? Then there's manpower waste. You'd think with skill shortages, aging workers, and labour costs through the roof, we'd be treating our site staff like the precious resource they really are. Instead, we continue to send men and women to site when there's no actual work ready for them. They travel an hour, 2 hours, sometimes even more, only to be told we're waiting on a permit, the drawings aren't signed off yet. So they sit, or they sweep, or they find something to look busy doing. It's not their fault, but it's still wasted time, wasted energy, and wasted money. And all because someone somewhere thought it was safe to have them there just in case. Just in case of what? Idle men are expensive, and idle machines are even worse. I've seen excavators standing silent for days, sometimes weeks, because no one has the authority or the guts to off-hire them. The job's paused, the client's dithering, but the plant keeps racking up hire charges because someone's waiting for an official sign-off that never comes. We all talk about sustainability, but there's nothing sustainable about paying 4 figures a week for a digger that hasn't turned a track in a fortnight. And don't even get me started on paper. Once upon a time, demolition and construction firms measured paperwork by the page. Now it's by the gigabyte. We've replaced clipboards with tablets, but the waste hasn't gone away. It's just gone paperless. And if anything, the switch to digital has actually made things worse. Paper was expensive, so only those that specifically needed the paperwork were granted access. Today, every man and his wife is copied in on everything. Now, admittedly, sending documentation about the place doesn't cost a dime, but it costs time for every recipient to stop, read, and realise it has nothing to do with them. A lot of it isn't about improving safety or efficiency either. It's just about protecting backsides, just in case something goes wrong. We worship at the altar of the compliance gods, praying that our risk assessments and daily briefings will shield us from criticism or prosecution. But safety doesn't come from paperwork. It comes from people who know their job and they're trusted to do it. You can't template common sense. All this bureaucracy doesn't just waste money. It wears people down, good people, the kind who used to thrive on solving problems and getting things done, and now spending half their days chasing signatures and filling out spreadsheets. The passion that got them into the industry in the first place slowly ebbs away. You can see it in the site managers who stop pushing back, in the supervisors who've given up suggesting improvements because it just gets lost in the system. You can see it in the plant operators who roll their eyes when another safety campaign rolls out with a new slogan, but the same old issues underneath. We talk endlessly about mental health in construction, and rightly so. But maybe part of the problem is that we're grinding down people with process. We've replaced pride in the job with fear of missing a form. And you can't recycle morale once it's gone. The saddest waste of all, though, is potential. This industry is full of clever, capable people, from apprentices to veterans, who could make things faster, safer, and better, if only we'd let them. But too often, their ideas get buried under the bureaucracy. We talk about innovation as if it's a department rather than a mindset. We stick the word digital in front of everything and pat ourselves on the back for being forward-thinking, while the real innovators, the ones in the hard hats, still fighting to be heard. Imagine what we could achieve if we applied half as much effort to doing as we do to documenting. So yes, this is the European Week for Waste Reduction. By all means, let's recycle the steel, salvage the bricks, and keep materials in circulation. But while we're at it, let's start talking about the waste we can't measure in tons or cubic meters. How about we reduce wasted time by cutting meetings that don't move the job forward? Reduce wasted manpower by communicating properly and only calling people in when the site's ready for them. Reduce wasted money by off-hiring kit when it's idle and challenging the culture of indecision that keeps it there. Reduce wasted paper, digital or otherwise, by writing less and saying more. And above all, reduce wasted potential by trusting the people on the ground to use their experience and their judgment. Because waste isn't just about materials, it's about time, trust, and the human energy it takes to keep this industry running. If demolition has taught me anything, it's that you can always find value in the rubble, but only if you bother to look. The same goes for how we work. Beneath the layers of meetings, memos, and management speak, there's still a core of people who just want to do a good job and go home knowing they made a difference. And maybe that's where the real recycling starts, not in skips, but in the mindset. Less waste, more work, and perhaps fewer sacrifices to the compliance gods. Sorry if my eyes are all over the place. I can't use my usual system for the. There you are. Julie Banks. Julie Banks. Haven't seen Julie Banks in so long. Julie, how are you doing? I was going to say, how's the wee fella? I bet he's not that wee anymore, but totally agree, Mark. Sorry, got to go. Hope you're keeping well. I am keeping very well, Julie. Lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us over on Instagram. Who do we have over here? Michael Wright. Buongiorno, as they say in this fine land. Italy. Whereabouts are you in Italy, Michael? That's what I'd like to know. I've got to be honest, it doesn't even matter. Wherever you are in Italy, it's lovely, isn't it? Even if it's pouring with rain, even if it's snowing, even if it's hailstorm, Italy's just great. Good morning, Michael. Thank you for joining us. So yes, there you are. That's my my thought for the day on. I wonder if anyone's done the maths. And I realise what we're doing with the maths in terms of waste reduction is primarily aimed at saving the planet. And listen, I'm all for saving the planet. But I wonder how much of that actually drives real value and how much we could probably save in terms of real pounds, shillings and pence if we were a bit clever. Mick, sorry, threw me completely. It's Mick Saunders, my laptop not working over here. So yes, you're down sort of Bari way, aren't you? But it's lovely there at the moment. What's the weather like in Italy? What's the weather? It's got to be better than it is here, right? Very well written, Mark. Great points. Morning, Mick. Oh, excuse me. Morning. How's Italy? Don't ask him. He's going to tell us that the sun's shining, and you know there's beautiful Italian men and women parading past his door, about the pasta he had for dinner last night. I'm not jealous or bitter at all. You can probably tell. My son drove over with loads of bits for me to put on a new roof on the outhouse. Fantastic. It's coming together, is it, Mick? Send us some photographs. Love to see how that's all coming together. Are you keeping the pigs? That's what we'd like to know. The sun is shining, but only about 18 degrees. I'm not entirely sure what the weather's doing here. Doesn't feel particularly cold, but I listen. You're still in Italy, right? Are you? I know we were hoping to meet up just before you went. Have you been back and forth, or are you just decamped now? Are you permanently there now? I'm very jealous either way. Yes. So, how's the squealers? How are the squealers? We're talking about pigs, not talking about people. But although there are a few of those in this industry. Yes, loads of things I'm working on at the moment, and one of them is this colouring book. I will be getting to work on that. I've also got another 2 publications to come out between now and Christmas. And I've got another one that I literally started work on yesterday for early in the new year. It's occurred to me somewhat belatedly. I'm a little slow on the uptake sometimes. One of the issues that you have with the likes of the NFDC is everything is done by committee. So, if there was some major change in the demolition landscape tomorrow. They go away into a little huddle, maybe when they meet next, maybe in January, and they'd appoint a working party or a committee to look into this issue, and then the working party would come back 3 months later and say, we need to actually do some sort of guidance or have some webinars or seminars on this. So then they put that back to the working party, and then 6 months later you've lost a year. I've decided if they're not going to do it, I bloody will. So yes, got a couple of those bits and pieces coming up. One is called In Defense of Demolition. We've got our Demolition Prospects book. It comes out on Wednesday next week. I won't be here, but it will drop in my absence. So that's coming out as well. And then there's another one on top of that as well. So yeah, loads and loads going on. And plus, on top of all of that, we will have the colouring book. So it seemed like a really good idea. And the first couple of images that I did, no problem at all. And then it all seemed to start getting hard. I don't know why that is. It's very, very strange. But we are working on it in the background, and we will get it done. I'll keep you posted on all of that. I think I'm going to call it a day, because I do need to reboot this system and try and fix whatever the hell made the show so problematic today. We'll be back bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on Monday. As I say, only a 3-day week for me next week, because I'm in Birmingham. I'm going to visit a college on Wednesday, and then on Friday it's the AGM of the Institute of Demolition Engineers. If you happen to be up that part of the world, well, watch out for me. I'm driving up the first time, and I'm taking the train up the second time, so you'll see me whizzing past. No, mate, had a lot to do, so we'll be here until January. The pigs, well, apart from costing an arm and a leg to feed, I won't mention the vets' bills, fuel, and backhanders. It's not a cheap place. But I bet the pork tastes fantastic. Gary says, have a fantastic weekend, guys. Yeah, you too, Gary. Look out for that snow. But I think you are, according to the weather report that I saw last night, you are probably going to get it long before I do, if I get it at all. Because, that 1 or 2 degrees warmer down here in the south, generally keeps the snow at bay. I'm hoping that's going to be the case, although travelling to Birmingham twice in a week, it does take me further north. You can just see it, can't you? Just see it. I'm going to get caught in a blizzard. Anyway, enough, people. Go and have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you again on Monday. Thanks for your company. Thanks for your patience today, because it was a bit of a bugger's muddle. Best I could do in the circumstances, but I hope to do better next week. See you then.